The sky above Seoul was overcast when Jae-won Park received the strangest communication of his life. A holographic messenger, shimmering with an ethereal blue light, materialized in his small apartment near the Han River. The messenger looked distinctly non-human, with elongated fingers and skin that seemed to shift colors like a living camouflage. Jae-won Park, the messenger spoke in perfect Korean, "You are now the legal guardian of Princess Yuna of the Kalarian royal lineage." Jae-won, who had been drinking instant coffee and preparing for another mundane day at his environmental engineering firm, nearly choked. His cat, a lazy tabby named Bori, watched with disinterest from the windowsill. The holographic messenger continued, explaining a complex legal arrangement that involved an ancient interstellar treaty, a diplomatic exchange, and a series of hereditary obligations that even the most skilled lawyers would struggle to comprehend. Apparently, due to some archaic cosmic law, Jae-won was now responsible for a royal alien princess. Within hours, diplomatic vessels began arriving. They were not the massive, intimidating spaceships from science fiction movies, but sleek, almost organic-looking craft that seemed to fold space around them rather than simply travel through it. The first vessel landed in a carefully designated zone outside Seoul, causing minimal disruption. Princess Yuna emerged, and she was nothing like Jae-won expected. Instead of a stereotypical alien princess draped in exotic garments, she wore a tailored black suit that looked like it cost more than Jae-won's entire apartment. Her eyes were sharp, calculating, and decidedly unimpressed with her new guardian. "You are Jae-won Park?" she asked, her accent a strange mixture of languages that seemed to flow like water. Jae-won, still processing the morning's events, simply nodded. His engineering background had prepared him for complex systems and unexpected challenges, but this was beyond anything he had ever encountered. The Galactic Consensus, a sprawling bureaucratic network of alien civilizations, was simultaneously amused and bewildered. How could a random human from Earth be deemed suitable to guard a royal alien princess? Their communication channels buzzed with ridicule and speculation. What they didn't know was that Jae-won was no ordinary human. His work in environmental systems had taught him adaptability, strategic thinking, and the ability to solve complex problems under pressure. Where others saw chaos, he saw patterns and opportunities. Yuna carried with her technology that looked like magic. Devices that could analyze entire ecosystems with a single scan, communication tools that could translate between thousands of languages instantaneously, and personal protective systems that made Earth's most advanced military technology look like children's toys. But she was also vulnerable. Being transferred to a guardian she didn't choose, on a planet completely alien to her, was not a simple diplomatic assignment. Her initial contempt masked a deep uncertainty about her new circumstances. Jae-won's apartment, once a simple living space for a mid-level engineer, was now transformed. Advanced alien translation devices hummed softly, creating linguistic bridges. Protective energy shields, invisible to the naked eye, now surrounded the small living space. Ori the cat seemed the most relaxed, seemingly unimpressed by the cosmic drama unfolding around her, continuing to nap and occasionally stretch, indifferent to the fact that her owner was now responsible for an alien royal. The Galactic Consensus continued to mock, sending diplomatic messages that dripped with condescension. They saw a simple human, unaware that Jae-won was already beginning to understand the intricate web of relationships and obligations that had brought Yuna to Earth. As the first day of this unexpected guardianship came to a close, Jae-won realized his life would never be the same. A cosmic joke? Perhaps. But he was determined to understand the rules of this new game, one system at a time. Little did the Galactic Consensus know, they had just made a significant miscalculation in underestimating Jae-won Park. The morning after Yuna's arrival was tense. Jae-won woke early, preparing a simple breakfast of rice, eggs, and kimchi, unsure of what alien royalty might eat. Yuna sat at his small kitchen table, her posture rigid, eyes scanning the modest apartment with a mixture of curiosity and subtle disdain. "This is where you live?" she asked, her tone more a statement than a question. Jae-won simply nodded, sliding a plate of food toward her. He noticed her hands, delicate but with strange metallic lines that seemed to shift under her skin, hinting at some biological technology far beyond human understanding. Bori the cat watched the interaction, tail swishing with what seemed like calculated indifference. Yuna touched the food cautiously, her advanced scanner ring analyzing every molecule. The device around her finger glowed softly, translating the meal's nutritional content into a language of data only she could fully comprehend. "Acceptable," she muttered, taking a small bite. J1's phone buzzed. Another message from the Galactic Consensus, a diplomatic communication filled with thinly veiled mockery. They were tracking every moment of this unusual guardianship, expecting failure. The day's first challenge came quickly. A diplomatic communication required immediate response. A complex set of interstellar protocols that would make most humans' heads spin. Yuna watched as J1 carefully decoded the message, his engineering background proving unexpectedly useful. "You understand this?" she asked, genuine surprise replacing her earlier contempt. J1 smiled slightly. "Systems are systems. Whether they're environmental models or galactic communications, patterns exist everywhere." Outside, Seoul continued its normal rhythm. People walked to work, street vendors sold morning snacks, and traffic moved in its usual controlled chaos. None of them knew about the alien princess sitting in a small apartment, eating Korean breakfast. Yuna's communication device suddenly projected a holographic map, star systems, diplomatic routes, and complex political connections that looked like intricate spider webs of light. J1 realized this was more than just a communication tool. It was a living, breathing network of galactic information. "Why me?" J1 finally asked. "Why was I chosen as your guardian?" Yuna's expression shifted. For a moment, her royal composure cracked, revealing something vulnerable underneath. "Not everything is a choice," she said softly. The afternoon brought another surprise. A diplomatic shuttle arrived, delivering Yuna's personal belongings. But these weren't typical luggage, they were adaptive containers that could transform, change size, and protect their contents from virtually any environmental condition. As the containers opened, strange technologies emerged. Devices that looked like a cross between scientific instruments and art pieces. Protective suits that could adapt to thousands of different atmospheric conditions. Communication tools that made Earth's most advanced technology look primitive. J1's engineering mind was fascinated. Each item was a complex system, a puzzle waiting to be understood. Yuna noticed his genuine interest. For the first time, her expression softened slightly. "You're different from what the consensus expected," she observed. The Galactic Consensus continued sending messages, some diplomatic, some borderline insulting. They were watching, waiting for this human to make a mistake, to prove their belief that humans were too primitive to manage such a responsibility. But J1 was calculating. Each message, each interaction was another piece of a larger puzzle. And he was determined to understand every single piece. As evening approached, an unexpected moment of connection happened. Yuna, watching J1 prepare dinner, asked about Earth's cooking traditions. J1 began explaining kimchi's fermentation process, and for a brief moment, the alien princess looked genuinely interested. Bori the cat, seemingly sensing a shift in the apartment's energy, moved closer, a silent, furry observer to this unfolding cosmic drama. The first day of their unexpected partnership was ending. Neither fully understood what would come next, but something had changed. The mockery of the Galactic Consensus seemed distant now, overshadowed by a growing sense of unexpected potential. The next morning brought a breakthrough. J1 spread multiple documents across his small living room floor, creating a complex map of interconnected legal and diplomatic protocols. Yuna watched, her initial skepticism slowly transforming into curiosity. "These clauses," J1 muttered, tracing invisible connections between seemingly unrelated paragraphs, "they're not random. They're a system." His engineering background gave him a unique perspective. Where others saw complex alien legal language, J1 saw patterns, intricate networks of relationships and obligations that most would dismiss as incomprehensible. Yuna's communication device began to vibrate. Another message from the Galactic Consensus arrived, dripping with condescension. They were monitoring every interaction, expecting imminent failure. "They believe humans are too primitive," Yuna explained, her voice carrying a hint of something between amusement and frustration. "But you see something different. J1's fingers moved quickly, translating complex alien legal text using a custom algorithm he had developed. Each translation revealed another layer of the intricate diplomatic mechanism that had brought them together. A hidden clause emerged, one that suggested the guardianship was more than a simple diplomatic transfer. It was a test. Not just of J1, but of humanity's potential in the larger galactic community. Bori the cat watched from the windowsill, seemingly unimpressed by the cosmic drama unfolding in the small apartment. The day progressed with a series of unexpected challenges. Diplomatic communications arrived rapidly, each more complex than the last. Yuna began to realize that J1 was not a typical human guardian. His approach was methodical. Where most would be overwhelmed, he broke down each communication into systematic components. He treated the alien diplomatic language like a complex environmental model, something to be understood, analyzed, and ultimately solved. The consensus doesn't know what to make of you, Yuna observed during a quiet moment. Her scanner ring continuously analyzed J1, collecting data that seemed to contradict everything the galactic consensus believed about humans. A critical moment came in the afternoon. A potential interstellar conflict emerged, a complex dispute involving multiple alien civilizations. The galactic consensus expected J1 to fail, to become overwhelmed by the intricate diplomatic challenge. Instead, J1 began mapping the conflict like an environmental system. He identified key interaction points, potential resolution strategies, and hidden connection points that others had missed. Yuna watched in growing amazement. Her initial contempt was rapidly transforming into something closer to respect. The communication devices in the apartment began to pulse with increasing frequency. The galactic consensus was monitoring every moment, their initial mockery slowly giving way to something closer to confusion. J1's approach was uniquely human. He didn't follow traditional diplomatic protocols. Instead, he applied the problem-solving skills of an environmental engineer, looking for systemic solutions rather than traditional confrontational approaches. As evening approached, a breakthrough emerged. J1 had identified a series of diplomatic connections that could potentially resolve the developing interstellar tension. His solution was so unexpected, so completely outside traditional galactic negotiation methods, that it caught everyone by surprise. Yuna's communication device suddenly displayed a series of complex calculations. The potential resolution J1 had proposed was actually working, breaking through diplomatic deadlocks that had existed for generations. "How did you do this?" she asked, genuine amazement replacing her earlier royal detachment. J1 simply smiled. "Systems are systems," he repeated. "Whether it's environmental modeling or galactic diplomacy, patterns exist everywhere." The galactic consensus fell silent. Their monitoring system showed something they had not expected: a human was actually solving a diplomatic challenge that had stumped their most experienced negotiators. As night fell over Seoul, something had fundamentally changed. The unexpected guardianship was becoming something more, a potential bridge between humanity and the vast, complex galactic community. Bori the cat stretched and moved closer to J1, as if acknowledging the cosmic shift happening in their small apartment. The diplomatic challenge arrived like a silent storm. Early morning light filtered through J1's apartment windows as a high-priority communication burst through Yuna's advanced communication device. The holographic display showed a complex web of potential conflict involving 3 major galactic civilizations. Most human diplomats would have been overwhelmed. J1 saw an intricate puzzle waiting to be solved. Yuna watched closely as J1 began mapping the conflict. His fingers moved across transparent digital screens, connecting seemingly unrelated data points. The galactic consensus communication channels buzzed with anticipation. They expected spectacular failure. "These civilizations," J1 muttered, "they're like interconnected ecological systems. Each action creates a chain reaction." His environmental engineering background provided an unexpected advantage. Where traditional diplomats saw conflict, he saw a complex network of interconnected relationships and potential solutions. The first challenge involved a resource dispute between the Kreltan Empire and the Mirian Collective. Centuries of tension had created a diplomatic minefield that no negotiator had successfully navigated. Yuna's scanner continuously tracked J1's approach, collecting data that challenged everything the galactic consensus believed about human capabilities. Bori the cat watched from the windowsill, tail swishing with an almost knowing attitude. J1's solution was brilliantly unconventional. Instead of traditional negotiation, he proposed a resource-sharing model that mimicked natural ecosystem interactions. He used principles of environmental sustainability to reframe the entire diplomatic approach. Yuna's initial skepticism began to transform. "They will never accept this," she said, but her tone carried a hint of curiosity. The communication devices in the apartment began to pulse with increasing intensity. The galactic consensus was watching every moment, their monitoring systems working overtime to understand this unexpected approach. As the day progressed, J1's strategy began to show unexpected results. The conflicting civilizations, initially dismissive, started to show genuine interest in his proposed solution. It was so different from traditional diplomatic approaches that it caught everyone by surprise. A critical moment came in the afternoon. A potential military escalation loomed. The Krultan Empire had already begun mobilizing their fleet. Traditional diplomatic channels had completely broken down. J1 remained calm. He continued mapping the conflict, treating it like a complex environmental system with multiple interconnected variables. Yuna's communication device suddenly displayed a series of complex calculations. The potential resolution was actually working, breaking through diplomatic deadlocks that had existed for generations. "This is impossible," she whispered, watching the data unfold. The galactic consensus communication channels went silent. Their most advanced diplomatic AI systems couldn't comprehend the solution J1 was implementing. As evening approached, the impossible happened. The Krultan Empire and the Mirian Collective began serious discussions based on J1's proposed model. It wasn't a traditional peace treaty, it was a complete reimagining of their relationship. Yuna realized something fundamental had changed. This wasn't just about resolving a conflict. This was about showing a completely different approach to interstellar diplomacy. "The consensus will not be happy," she said, a hint of a smile playing on her lips. J1's response was simple. "Sometimes, the best solutions come from looking at things differently." The apartment filled with the soft hum of communication devices. Diplomatic channels across multiple star systems were analyzing, discussing, and slowly accepting the unprecedented solution. Bori the cat stretched, seemingly unimpressed by the cosmic drama unfolding around her. As night fell over Seoul, J1 and Yuna sat in quiet reflection. The diplomatic challenge that was supposed to expose human limitations had become something else entirely, a demonstration of humanity's unique problem-solving approach. The galactic consensus was about to learn a valuable lesson about underestimating humans. The final transformation began quietly. Months of diplomatic work had changed everything, not just between J1 and Yuna, but across the entire galactic political landscape. The Galactic Consensus Communication Center was in chaos. Their most advanced predictive models had been completely shattered by a single human from Earth. J1's unconventional diplomatic solution had resolved conflicts that had existed for generations. Yuna watched the data streams, her scanner ring continuously tracking the unprecedented changes. What had started as a diplomatic assignment had become something much deeper, a bridge between humanity and the vast galactic community. Seoul remained unchanged on the surface. But inside J1's small apartment, a cosmic revolution was taking shape. Bori the cat seemed to be the only calm presence, watching the unfolding drama with feline indifference. The Krultan Empire and Mirian Collective were now implementing a resource-sharing model that completely redefined their relationship. J1's approach, treating diplomatic relationships like complex ecological systems, had proven revolutionary. "They never expected a human to see the connections," Yuna said, her voice carrying a mixture of respect and amazement. Diplomatic shuttles began arriving from multiple star systems. Representatives wanted to understand the human who had done the impossible. J1's modest apartment became an unexpected center of galactic attention. Each communication revealed another layer of transformation. The mockery that had initially surrounded J1's guardianship had completely disappeared. Now, there was genuine curiosity about human potential. Yuna's role had changed too. No longer just a royal transfer, she had become a key interpreter between her alien civilization and humanity. Her initial contempt for her human guardian had transformed into a deep professional respect. The Galactic Consensus held an emergency session. Their entire understanding of humanity was being rewritten. How could a single human engineer see diplomatic solutions that their most advanced AI systems had missed? J1 remained humble. He continued to approach each new challenge like an environmental problem, looking for interconnections, understanding complex systems, finding balance. A breakthrough came unexpectedly. The diplomatic model J1 had created was now being studied across multiple civilizations. Universities and diplomatic training centers were analyzing his approach, recognizing its revolutionary potential. "You've changed everything," Yuna told him one evening, watching data streams dance across her communication device. Bori the cat stretched, seemingly unimpressed by the cosmic significance of the moment. The transformation wasn't just diplomatic. It was philosophical. Alien civilizations were beginning to see humanity differently, no longer as a primitive species, but as potential partners with a unique problem-solving approach. J1's engineering background had become his greatest strength. Where traditional diplomats saw barriers, he saw systems. Where others saw conflict, he saw opportunities for connection. Communication devices across multiple star systems continued to buzz. The story of the human who reimagined galactic diplomacy was spreading faster than anyone could have predicted. Yuna's scanner ring continued collecting data, revealing the profound impact of their unexpected partnership. What had started as a simple guardianship had become something much larger, a potential turning point in galactic relationships. The Galactic Consensus was forced to acknowledge something they had previously dismissed: humans were not just another developing species. They were a unique, innovative civilization with extraordinary potential. As the final diplomatic reports were filed, something fundamental had changed. The mockery had transformed into respect. The dismissal had become curiosity. J1 and Yuna sat in his small apartment, watching the data streams. Seoul continued its normal rhythm outside, unaware of the cosmic drama that had unfolded. Bori the cat jumped onto the windowsill, tail swishing, the only witness to a moment that would be remembered across multiple star systems. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage. And nothing would be the same again.